Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and this has been a long overdue episode. I can't believe I've not done this topic for you guys before, considering this is in the, for sure, top 5 of questions and concerns and frustrations and sticking points that many of you have. And it's how to share 2 types of businesses to one audience without confusing them or yourself. So many of you have maybe a network marketing arm to your business, but also have coaching. Or maybe you are a medical professional and see patients in office, but you also want to have a digital service-based business online. Or maybe you're a lawyer or a realtor and you help people in your local area, but you also want to package your intellectual property and be able to sell it on a global level. And thankfully, because I just asked a lot of you what you want in terms of episodes, in terms of length, all the things, and those of you who are wonderful enough to write back for topics really helped me. And Christine, she wrote, selling to both local and a global audience. I'm a chiropractor and I care for people locally at our business, but I also offer online education for both patients and other birth workers and professionals. So it gets confusing. Do I need 2 separate Instagram accounts? How much do I share of one versus the other? I do not want to turn people off or make them so confused that they don't buy anything at all. And I was like, oh my God, how did I not do this topic? And we covered it in depth inside my 6-month mastermind in truly breaking down how to do it. And I want to give you guys a taste of that here. Obviously, it's not customized to your exact business model, your exact ideal client, your exact offers and services. If you want that customization, which you should, because without that customization is probably why you're not making the money you would like to make in your business. My March applications are open for my exclusive 2-month private business coaching program. I take a maximum of 6 private clients at a time. That is all I can handle of you crazy asses. So I just take 6 people at a time. I don't always open applications, but they are open right now. You can swipe up and the link is right in the show notes. Or you can go to my website at projectmewithtiffany.com and it is under Work With Me and you'll see that. Yes, I work with people who are just starting out making $0. So you're starting out and you want to do the damn thing right and you want to get to where you want to go faster and be clear and really not waste a lot of time going all the way in the wrong direction or even 30 degrees in the wrong direction when you could have been going in the right direction the entire time. It's very sad when I see a lot of you guys coming to me that have been doing it. It's understandable. I did that myself, but you end up wasting so much more time, energy, and money. If I wasn't such a stubborn ass and I hired a business coach before I started, or even in that like first year, oh my God, it took me 5 years. I really thought that it meant that I shouldn't be an entrepreneur if I couldn't figure it out myself. I don't know where I came up with that belief. And clearly I had no coach in my life who was pointing out these beliefs and this craziness. This is why it's so dangerous to try to reach our goals and do things on our own, because left to our own devices, we have a lot of crazy beliefs and thoughts that we absolutely act on as though they are certain and as though they are true. And we end up self-sabotaging ourselves and we don't even realize it. So you can go and access those applications. Yes, again, I have 2 separate programs. One is for my new entrepreneurs making less than $10,000 a month online consistently. So you're $0 to $10,000. Then I have a separate 2-month program. It's the same application, but a separate program I put you into when you are over $10,000 a month consistently and you're wanting to scale to multiple 6 figures and 7 figures. Yes, it is a different strategy. So to get you to that 10,000 a month mark, the great news is it's very straightforward. I've done it many, many, many times, hundreds and hundreds of times over again. And as long as you follow through and you do your part, I'm 100% confident you will get there with my exact customized system for you. So I wanted to make sure you guys know it's open. These spots go very quickly since I don't open them all the time and I have so few. So make sure you take advantage of it. If you are tripping and you're like, oh my God, I need to be further along to work with Tiffany. I bet Tiffany is like $100,000 to work with. I'm not $100,000 to work with. My ass ain't cheap though, but I am much less expensive than a lot of these people out there who are calling themselves coaches when I'm sitting here with millions in the bank and they do not. I'm not saying there aren't other good coaches out there, but most of them are selling you on the fantasy of ease. I sell you on the results and the receipts. So you would be surprised. I do not believe in charging exorbitantly high prices as a business strategy. That is not necessary and not recommended. So let's talk about how you infuse your multi-passions into your business, because that's really the concern. Those of you who are asking are like, well, maybe you're a healer of sorts. Maybe you do Reiki, but you also want to sell supplements online. Or maybe you have a jewelry line you're really interested in. Maybe you are a coach and you also want to do affiliate sales. I want you guys to have multiple revenue streams. Multiple revenue streams is how you become wealthy. Having just one revenue stream, that would be called having a conventional job. And we all know how that ends. And there's nothing wrong with it. If you're happy with that, you probably aren't, or you wouldn't be listening to this show. But if that's enough for you, I'm not judging you. That's okay. It's enough for a majority of the world. But you need to have multiple streams of income to gain wealth to where you're not always trading your time for money, because your time and energy are limited and you can't get time back. How in the hell is it already March? We are already into the 3rd month of 2022. Look how fast that went. If you are not making sure that your money's making money for you and you have different streams set up, you are going to get so dependent and fixated on this one way of making money. Maybe it's, your in-person patients or one-on-one clients or fitness. Maybe you're doing like fitness training. And if you're so dependent on that and then something happens like, the pandemic, or you're someone, I have a client right now who's in a product-based business and they get all of their stuff imported from Asia and they've not been able to get their product in, and that's their main source. So she came to me because she's like, oh my God, what do? I have nothing to sell. And therefore there's no money coming in. I can't even fulfill the past orders because we can't get the product in. And granted, people are being patient. A lot of people were having to offer refunds. And this is money we already spent. What do I do? So she came to me so we could create digital products for her. So that's one of the things that can happen, right? What if you are someone who is depending on all your income on, let's say, one-on-one private services, right? You're a service-based business. You're a consultant. You're a medical professional. You're a coach. You're an accountant, you're a realtor. I mean, that should be a big source of income for you. I hate it. Tell me if you guys are getting a rash over this. There's these weird trends that happen in the online space. And one of them is these coaches saying, I don't do private coaching anymore. I hear it a lot, like in the fitness world too. I don't do take private clients anymore. Like almost saying, I'm too good for it. I only do group because that's how I can impact more people. P.S. Tony fucking Robbins takes private clients. He just charges probably $1 million a year to work with him. All right. There's other people that take private clients that have been in the space for 10 years who make millions per launch. Amanda Francis takes private clients. I think she's like $100,000 a year. Okay. So you can, my coach, Cara Alwell, she has 8 million downloads on her podcast. She's an 8-time best-selling author, and she has over 120 followers just on Instagram, 120,000 followers just on Instagram alone. And I'm her private client. You just charge more and you can be more discerning on who you take, or maybe you just take 2 people at a time. Like I choose to take a maximum of 6. Sometimes I decide to only take 4, right? Because I've built up my business and the demand for my services and all the proof of all the things I teach that work and get the results and the ROI. You have to build that up over time and then you become in high demand. But it really irritates me seeing that. Because if someone offered you the right price, you're telling me you wouldn't personally train me? I'm sorry. Tracy Anderson, I don't know if she's been making the rounds in Instagram ads because I'm probably selling an app. But the celebrities she's worked with, I think Gwyneth Paltrow was like her main person. She still trains these people and probably gets paid like $300,000 a year to train them. Hello? Sorry, I went off on a tangent, but it really irritates me. Why can't that be an arm of your business? We have multiple streams of income. So you can have that be an arm. You can have a course be an arm, a book be an arm, a podcast be an arm. You can have affiliate marketing, network marketing, physical products. I want you to have, eventually you could have rental income. You could have Bitcoin. Well, not necessarily, you know what I mean. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm looking at getting another property and then renting out that property, more passive income. So I want you to have multiple streams. This is how we end up basically spreading our risk. So think of any investment portfolio. I had to pause it because my dog went psycho outside. Okay. So think of an investment portfolio. Even if you're not like into all that stuff, you have a 401k maybe. My people outside the US, you have some kind of a retirement fund or an investment portfolio. You wouldn't have all your money in one stock, right? Because what could happen to that company? It could go bankrupt. There could be a major publicity issue with the CEO and it tanks, right? You hedge and spread your risk by having a portfolio of businesses that you invest in via stock. And they all fluctuate, but they all nicely, if you have someone doing it right, they balance each other. Most importantly, you want it to make you money, but at the very least, they balance each other. One goes down, a few go up, right? This is what I want for you in your business. It doesn't happen all overnight, so don't compare yourself to me. I started with one stream of income, and then I added another, and I added another. Some of my streams of income only make $500 a month. Some of them make $0 for a month, and then the next month they make $2,000. Some of them make $100,000 a month, right? But you just build it up over time. So let's talk about and get in the details of how you do this for sharing your multi-passions in your business. Number one, not every passion of yours is meant to be monetized. And I've said this before, but I feel I need to say it again. You don't have to monetize everything. In fact, it can also suck the joy out of some of your passion if you monetize it. Some things are meant to be a hobby. All right. You got to be discerning. Like me building Legos, hobby. We don't need to monetize it. Are there people all over YouTube and on Instagram who have monetized their passion for Lego building? 1,000%. That's not my jam. It would totally take away my childlike joy of building Legos. And yes, I have every Christmas set ever built. I have a vast collection. Thank you so much. So there's that. The next thing. Tiffany, do I need to have more than one account? No. I do not want you having more than one Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Facebook. Unless you have some big team that can manage all of this for you, the content monster is already coming for you enough. We don't need to do more of that. I would rather you have your main accounts for your company. It's not like you're Nike, right? When you're Nike has their main account. But because Nike's so big, right, they can have Nike Women, Nike Athlete. But they also have a giant social media and marketing team and budget to be able to manage all those pages and put out, I don't know if their content's good, but put out great content. My guess is you don't have Nike's budget. The only times I say to people that you can have a separate private account or a personal account is when you really do not want to show your kids or your family at all. Like it's very important to you and you do not want to show them on social media and you really want to have that account. Then I'm fine with that. I'm fine with you having that separate as long as there's no pressure to post on it and you're just posting on it to show Grandma Sally, how your kid, dove off the diving board. You know what? I love all you parents. Most of my clients are parents. Most of my friends are parents. Some of these things I get sent, I don't need to see. I only want to see funny shit, crazy shit, or something that's like really impressive. Don't send me basic stuff of your children. It's not cute. The only people who care are probably the grandparents and the other half of who created that child. And anyone else is just being nice to you. That was my public service announcement. And other parents also don't want to see it. And they're being polite. Thank you. So just have one account. How do I do that content though? So let's use an example of like, you have a network marketing arm, like you have some kind of product, right? It doesn't have to be the network marketing model, but you have, shout out to my pudding horse. You have the pudding, right? And if you guys are like, what's the pudding? Just follow along in my stories and in my episodes and you'll pick up on the pudding. Or maybe you have protein shakes, maybe you have yoga mats, maybe you have crystals. It doesn't matter. You have some kind of product, but you also have some kind of a service, right? Maybe you do coaching. Maybe you offer breathwork sessions, whatever that may be. This is all under one brand, whatever your brand is. So under the ProjectME with Tiffany Carter brand, there is a variety of ways to work with me and access my intellectual property. I'm just using myself as an example to help you out. And I'll use someone else in a different niche as an example too, because I know you guys love learning by examples. So the most exclusive way to work with me, right, is through my private 2-month business coaching program. So that is a service, right? A one-to-one service. So there's one way. Another way to access my intellectual property and my teachings and my training and my guidance is through my ProjectME Posse group coaching membership. Different price point, right? It's $100 a month. There's another way. I just finished a launch for Selling with Soul, which is one of my signature programs. So that is a 5-week group coaching program. Another way to access me, but a different program. I also have a 6-month mastermind where we get together in real life at the end for a luxurious 2-day, full business mode, cash focused, glorious time. That's another way to work with me. Let's say, which I will, I have my card deck. There's a physical product. Those right now, the physical decks I give away, but the digital decks I sell. And I don't mean I give away my decks to anyone. I give them away, like we do it for pay in full boxes and exciting giveaways that we do, and to my mastermind people. But you can buy my digital affirmation card deck for $9.99. These are all under the ProjectME with Tiffany Carter brand umbrella. So is this podcast. So are my freebies, all under this brand. So I need you to think of yourself as a brand, not as these things being two separate businesses. And I know it can mess with your head, especially if you do like social selling, affiliate sales, network marketing, because you're like, well, but that I don't own that company, right? I don't own that company I'm doing stuff for. Or maybe you want to make money as having an Amazon influencer account, right? And it's like, well, I don't own Amazon. I don't own the companies that I'm, sending affiliate links to people for. That's okay. It is still under your brand. Think of it like a store. Like, you go into a boutique, and a boutique doesn't just have one brand, right? If you go to like a Lululemon, everything in there's Lululemon. But you go to like a cute local boutique, they have multiple different brands in there. You go to a Neiman Marcus, multiple different brands. You go inside a Chanel store, it's all Chanel. You're not a Chanel. I'm not saying you're not worthy of a Chanel, but you're not Chanel. You're a boutique you're a luxury boutique that has multiple curated products inside, all under that brand. And what you're doing is you're saying these products, these digital and physical products, these services all have been curated under the, Susie sells seashells brand. They're all under that brand. They get my stamp of approval. These are things that I believe in. These are things I know my ideal client, who if I'm doing it right, I'm focused on and I'm curating for, would enjoy and would need. And that's all found here. So just like a clothing boutique, I'm thinking of this boutique, shout out Frenzy, that I've been going to for years in California. And they even sell candles, but it's primarily a clothing boutique. They sell candles. They've added like some purses over the years, but there's all different brands in there, but they're selling to their ideal client. This is why they've been in business for 15 years. And that's a hard market to be in a business to, because they know who their ideal client is. They know the price point they're looking for, the quality they're looking for, the type of stuff that they're looking for. And there's nothing that goes in that store that wouldn't appeal to their ideal client. And it's all under, the owner of Frenzy puts her stamp on everything. We trust that whatever she has in there, it's going to be something that we like. So that's how I need you to start thinking of your business, is that it's a brand. So you get to show that your love of faith and God. Yes, if that's true to you, you should show that, right? People need to see who you are. If you sell pudding that makes you lose weight, yeah, show the damn pudding. Wouldn't you share that with a friend? If they're like, damn girl, like your waist is looking snatched. Wouldn't you say, oh my God, I couldn't believe that this like chocolate pudding was going to actually do anything for me, but my friend told me to try it. So I did. And I stuck with it for at least like 30 days. And it actually worked. Like, I can't believe it. And so now I actually sell it under my brand. Do you want the link to get some? Wouldn't you say that if it's genuine to you? I tell you guys all the time about the stuff to buy and even stuff not to buy, or books or whatnot, right? So as long, and if it's something you want, if it's something you feel your ideal client needs and you can't find that it exists, well, this is how new companies come about. This is how the company I'm a high-level investor in with Light Pink, Lori Harder's company, came about. This is how Spanx came about. So you can also create it. I'm eventually going to have an office supply line. I'm excited about that. And that would also be under the ProjectME with Tiffany Carter brand. So here's how you don't confuse people. Let me explain it by how you would confuse them. It would be confusing, as it would be if I did this under my brand. If I'm promoting, oh my God, you got to get into selling with soul. And then the next day I'm like, you've got to buy my affirmation cards. And then the next day I'm like, you need to do private coaching with me. And then the next day I'm like, oh my God, you got to do, let's get down to business. And then the next day I'm like, you got to go listen to my podcast. That would feel like that would make me look crazy, and it would overwhelm the audience, and people need to hear something on average 8 to 12 times before they actually buy. So now you're sprinkler systeming. Oh my God, that is definitely not a word or term, but it is now. You're sprinkler systeming your people. So, I'm going to say it, but it's so inappropriate. I mean, everything's getting a little wet, but not wet enough. And I don't know what's wrong with me. Just go with the analogy. Okay. We, in the digital marketing space especially, and this also combines with traditional marketing as well, you need to fire hose people. And I don't mean fire hose. Don't take me literally like you got to inundate and annoy people. But you've got to have that fire hose of it's the same exact offer over and over again for a short period of time. And then you go to another offer. So it needs to be planned. If you want to have a successful brand or business, you have to do adulty things. You have to have someone teach you and get a customized, proven customer acquisition system that feels good to you and your ideal client. Learn how to properly launch, how to structure launches. Otherwise, you're going to keep trying and get to a point where you're so sick and tired of it and nothing is working. You'll take your foot off the gas, you'll quit, or you'll want to quit. And I know it's not as sexy as in 30 days, go viral multiple times with reels. I know it's not as sexy as that, but this is, if you want to know how I've got millions in the bank, this is how. So you need to plan out, even if you take a paper calendar, right? You need to plan it out. Like, okay, so I'm going to launch Selling with Soul from this date to this date. This is my pre-launch period, starts here. This is the launch period. Okay, then I'm going to take a little break because you need a reprieve for yourself, typically after a launch because it's a lot of energy. It doesn't need to be long. You can take a month if you want, that's fine. I typically take 2 weeks. So you take a reprieve. Now what am I launching next? Now what I decided to do was open my applications for my private coaching program. So those are now open. Now what am I going to do after that? I have no idea yet. I will know soon. I have an idea. It's something I've never done before. It's a matter if I have the mental sanity with all the shit going on in my personal life to execute it. And that's what I'm assessing at the moment. That is what we're doing some heavy assessment work on that at the moment. It has to be planned. I work behind the scenes with my other company with organizations that are multi-billion-dollar organizations. In fact, a couple trillion-dollar organizations. I am privy to what happens behind the scenes, how things work. We are already in summer for every single launch and marketing program for all these companies, all of them. And you've heard of all of these companies before worldwide. Granted, giant budget, huge team. We're already in summer because we have to coordinate traditional advertising, right? We have to get TV ads shot and created. They have to get social media ads shot and created. They have to get shit approved from lawyers. They have to get contracts signed for actors and influencers to get involved. They have to make sure the product's in time, and there's press releases, and there's a lot of moving parts. That's incredibly normal. It can feel very stressful, what I'm saying to you right now. It doesn't need to be. You're not that level of a business. I'm not going to say this is easy, but it's straightforward and simple when you have someone who's done it so many times over and over again and has that teaching style. It can be simple, but I'm not going to tell you it's easy. Entrepreneurship is not easy. It is a ongoing, never-ending mental roller coaster of a lifetime, and it's worth it. And it's worth it. That's entrepreneurship in a nutshell. But you also have to treat your business like a business if you want to make big business cash. You can't sit here and complain you're not getting clients and cash if you're not treating your business like a business, investing in it financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, and doing the tedious adulting things that are required instead of just, oh, let me see what I'm vibing today. And I'll just try this, and I'm intuitively feeling this. I'm not saying you don't use intuition in business. I'm not saying you don't use creativity. I use it all the time. But that's not the primary factor here. You've got to have this stuff laid out, and that way you don't annoy your people. But people want to see that you have a plethora of things. That's great that you have more things. If you just have one, that's also great. Soon you'll have 2, then you'll have 3. You want to have multiple offerings. So own it. Don't be shy about it. Own it. Put your stamp of approval on it. You just need to determine what type of boutique are you and who's the ideal client that you want coming in over and over again to your boutique, who's super excited every time they know you're getting new merchandise in and can't wait to get in there to see it and is happy to take out their credit card to buy it. And you curate those different offerings, physical products, digital products, and services under that brand for that one single person. If you love this episode, I would really appreciate you guys writing a 5-star written Apple Podcast review. You can also leave reviews on Spotify as well. Reviews are what help the show actually grow and get seen by more people. And I know you can be lazy about it, but if you really want to show your appreciation for the show, seriously, help a sister out. It'll take you 60 seconds. If you don't know how to do it, you can just Google it and the instructions will pop right up. Put your name or Instagram handle in the review. I would love to treat you to a coffee drink of your choice. No pumpkin spice lattes, but I would love to treat you to a coffee drink of your choice as my way of saying thank you for leaving a review and being a wonderful, loyal listener. So all you'd have to do is DM me on Instagram with a screenshot of the review, and I'd happy to do it. If you're like, Tiff, I don't need a coffee, I just want to show you love, that's awesome too. But don't procrastinate. Go leave the review. It goes a long way. I really want to get to 600 reviews. Like, for the love of God, help me out. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.